Probably no, people would not like it because I do 90% of the stuff for free. So anyways, actually right now my biggest problem is how to work less so I spend more time on the beach in the summer. I have 5 months to figure out how to do that. So
listen, I'm willing to do a travel learn session too, where I'll take part in and the beach sessions as well. And that's how I'll figure out that work-life balance.
Yeah, you figure it out while on the beach. Like that's when you figure out things.
Yeah, it'll be a live and learn scenario.
Yeah, I mean, you should do that. No, a lot of people from my team are living on the beach. I don't care where or how they do the meeting. So
all right, Acquco, watch out. hellotax is my future.
Yeah. Okay, Jenna, I know she had a meeting, so if you want, we can start. Let me just go live on LinkedIn, and I think we can get started.
I really added a lot of people, so I don't know why there were like no registrations on my side. Really have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, I think it's the season. Nobody cares about anything. I think I think the 15 was probably not that close to Christmas, but honestly, everybody's wrapping up stuff this week. So hey, Jenna, you got the last train. Like we say in Bulgarian, you jump in the last second. So hey guys, thanks for joining the webinar. Jenna just joined, so we can kick it off. Last event of the year, I think 15th, 16th. I don't remember any. Honestly, too many webinars for me this year. So, but all good to know. I met a lot of great partners, and we can do a lot of such events next year. So today, I mean, the event would be tailored not for 2021 because it's almost over. So who cares? Whatever you did it. If not, you can make up next year. So let me share my screen and enable all the other speakers to share, and we'll start with the presentation and why we gathered ourselves today. So just a second.
Yeah, not many people are claiming 2022 as their year, I hear, but for eCom and Amazon sellers, maybe that's one of those divisions where that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, let me give you some feedback. I'm not sure if you're coming again for my event. You should know that I run the partnership for hellotax, and hellotax is a VAT compliance solution. And what does this mean? I mean, we do VAT registrations and filings for Amazon sellers. The co-founders of hellotax, Christian and Christoph, they used to be Amazon sellers. They were chatting one day 6 years ago in a Facebook group, just complaining about their issues with the VAT as an Amazon seller. And one of them had like a eureka. Okay, guess what? Let's build the software. And 6 years after that, we have the software. We have a lot of clients, and I have been gathering a lot of partners the last year. And this is why we have the event. The events are always around how we can help Amazon sellers and e-commerce sellers in general to expand in Europe. And today, the topic is very relevant. Many of you guys don't know, but Europe is a huge market. This is some stats from last year. 700 plus billion is the market in Europe. I mean, so obviously we'll tell you how we can actually get piece of the pie in 2022 and how we can expand. Because right now you might be selling in Germany, you might be selling in States, Australia, whatever. I mean, expanding to Europe should be on your roadmap. So we'll show you how to turn your brand from a local one to a global one. And of course, I cannot do it by myself, because we just covered taxes. Is not a sexy topic. You need that, but still, it's just part of the journey that you need to do to overcome the challenges. So today with me, I have 3 speakers. First, I'll tell you about VAT so we can finish with the unsexy topic. And then I'll have Jana. She's a partner of mine. She's a neighbor this site in Serbia from Bulgaria. And she has one of the largest Amazon translation agencies, because after taxes, translations are the second biggest block, or you might even say the first, because first you set up your website and then you do the stuff. Without proper translation, you'll fail. I know it from experience because I used to run a private label brand selling across Europe, and translations are vital. So she'll tell you how we can expand in the EU Amazon marketplaces and how to do it right. Then I'll have Jenna from Turnkey Product Management, who is an Amazon agency. They're tailored for Amazon sellers mostly, and they help a lot of sellers expanding from the States to Europe. And she'll tell what they do as part of their agency and how they help these companies to grow their business in the EU. And at the end, we have the Tesla guys. They give away Teslas if you sell the brand to them. So this is Acquco and Jesse, one of the aggregators who are doing the stuff differently. And I love people and partners who do stuff differently, because this is the only way that people can know. So, and of course, at the end, after we do our presentation and we do our talking, we have a Q&A section. So if you have any questions, type them in the chat or in the Q&A section and we'll answer that. And if you have to leave, don't worry. We have a recording so we can share that with you later on. You can see your questions answered. So, and if you'd like to follow our events next year, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and we'll keep on doing these events again in Q1. So thank you guys. And I guess I made the introduction, but I need to continue talking, which is good. Okay, so taxes. No, everybody see my screen, right? I'm not just Jana, Jesse.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. So what problem are we solving with the taxes? I mean, if you expand in Europe, if you want to sell in Europe in your online seller, you need to be tax compliant. So that's what we do. We make sure that you're tax compliant so we can deal with your business. And why actually Europe? I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it's a huge market. There is a 400 plus millions adult population, which is potential customers, 27 new markets that you can add to your channels that you're selling right now. And obviously, if you're selling in your home country, you can expand and make it a global because you're selling to a new continent. If your competitors are not doing that, you can take them over and take advantage of that and grow more than them. And the last part is, of course, more markets. You can order more supplies, and obviously there will be a cost reduction when you do that. And in regards to the e-commerce in Europe, what do you need to know? I mean, you need to know your VAT liability, meaning how much VAT you own right now and how much you own in the past. You need to register in one or more markets in Europe and you need to pay and file returns in different markets. You need to have an exact view of the movement of goods that you're doing from one market to another. Let's say you have Amazon FBA, you're moving stock to France or to Italy, you need to report that as well. And of course, we're talking mostly about Amazon, but there is other e-commerce channels. So if you need to report and you need to know the exact sales and transactions that you do on all different channels. And VAT rates in Europe, how much is it? Around 20. Okay, but around 20 is not a good answer when you talk with the tax authorities. So you need to know that. But if you do it with us, you don't need to worry. We have a software and we know exactly how much is your VAT and how much you need to pay. And it's calculated by our software. So if you forget that, you need to remember that. Then another question that we keep on being asked, okay, where should I start? I mean, different markets, they have different tax authorities, different legislation, meaning that is different. For example, Poland is one of the easiest markets to start in regards to the documents they require and how hard it is to establish and register. And Spain is the worst one. I mean, they take the most, they require original documents. So you should avoid that unless, of course, you're coming from the WATAM area and Spanish is your language of your from your home country. And of course, Germany is somewhere in the beginning, which is the most demanded market in Europe and is the biggest one after Amazon.com, the US one. And why should you register for VAT? I mean, like I said at the beginning, you guys have no choice. I mean, after July, I mean, there is no longer the so-called VAT, like selling threshold limit. It used to be different, which was even more complicated. Right now, with the introduction of the so-called one-stop shop, once you hit 10,000 euro, you're allowed to register for the one-stop shop, and you can have one VAT registration in your home country, if you're based in the EU, or if you're outside of EU company, you can establish one country as a base, let's say Germany, you set up the one-stop shop, and you can deliver to the rest of Europe. So that's one of the reasons why you need to register for VAT. And the second one is if you store goods in any market in Europe. If you do that, you need to have a VAT registration there. So you might have one if you store in one, you might have 10 or you might have 27. So when you store goods, you must register. And this continues to be valid after July 1st. And like I just touched that at the beginning, what are the main blockers stopping you to do that? The first one is language barrier. Jana will tell you in more details about that. And the second one is taxes, because if you're not tax compliant, I mean, you cannot even start selling on Amazon. Sometimes, or you might have troubles if you're trying to do that in some different ways. So you need to be VAT compliant. That's it. I mean, there is no way around that. But of course, in order to do that, I mean, you need to have a solution, because we have been talking about the problem so far. So the solution for anybody expanding in Europe, like EU-based, non-EU-based, and right now UK is non-EU. So all our clients and sellers from the UK were recommending that they should do Germany. And here's a few reasons for that. Since the webinar is in English speakers, you guys should know, in Germany, they accept documents in English, meaning that you guys don't need to translate anything, which another blocker is removed. The second part is Germany doesn't require fiscal representation. Perfect. I mean, you don't need to worry for that as well. And the other reasons are biggest Amazon market after Amazon, the US, and the central location around Europe, meaning that you can establish yourself there, you can store your goods in Germany, and you can deliver to the other markets around Europe. Option one with the one-stop shop, let's say if you're based in Germany, or if you're non-EU, you can establish VAT in Germany, use the FBA and deliver to everybody. In a way, you'll be ABC testing the other markets. And then if you're doing good, you establish your VAT in the other markets. And this with the Amazon FBA. If you use FBM, for example, if you don't store with Amazon or with some 3PL, then in this case, you simply set up the VAT, and then you can set up the one-stop shop. And the one-stop shop allows you to do B2C sales from Germany to all the other markets in Europe. And you pay one VAT, one-stop shop report, you file one VAT return, and you pay one VAT return, and you pay one-stop shop return instead of doing 27, meaning it's much, much easier for English-speaking companies to expand in Europe right now after July 1st. So, and this is what we recommend to everybody. You know, we have a package for that, we have the software, so you just need to make the next step. I mean, you need to make the decision and go there, because we have a saying for that. You can lead the horse to the river, but you cannot make it drink. So it's always up to you guys to make the next step. And what we do, I mean, we provide the digital returns, we provide the software, and we provide the solution to actually monitor everything really easy. So let me show you the tool just to get an idea of how exactly it works out, you know. And it will take just a minute, so you don't need to worry about that. I've done it 100 times, so I know how to time myself like in a blitz chess game. So just give me a second. Do you see my screen?
We are seeing your screen.
Okay, so let's say, you know, you overcome your fear of the scary European Union. You decided, okay, set up the VAT in Germany. So what next? I mean, the next thing is now you got the VAT, you should start, selling. And once you do that, you come to our tool, you go to the integrations page, you click on the Amazon integration, you put your seller ID, authorization token, you save, and that's it. There is nothing else that you need to do after that. I mean, we pull the data out of Amazon. Here you'll see some dummy data, which is 0 because demo account, but this is how it looks like. It shows your gross turnover, net turnover, total VAT. You can filter by Amazon FBA. You can filter by your own web shop. If you have such, you can filter by all the Amazon markets, and you can filter by period. So what we do, you have the full visibility of all your sales across that you're doing on Amazon, for example, or Amazon and the other channels. We get the data from Amazon, which is like sale, expense, refund given, refund received, assets movement. And of course, you can filter that by channels, by country, from which to which country you're moving goods. As I mentioned earlier, you need to report that. And after, obviously, you connect your Amazon account, we file the report for the month, and we publish the return here. So you can just come to the returns page, you open that, download it, and pay that to the tax authority. And this is your own responsibility. I mean, we cannot make the payments on your behalf, with few exceptions for France, for example, where we need to do it on your behalf if you're a non-EU company. In general, this is the only thing that you need to do. And we have like a tax letter inbox as well. We get the communication from the tax authorities, and we translate that for our tool in German and English, so we'll know exactly what is required to you, because each one of the clients get an account manager. If you have any questions or any issues, you get in touch. They speak multiple languages and they can help out. So on the front end, it's a SaaS solution. On the back end is a managed solution to make sure that we cover the VAT and you just keep on building your business. And here, we finish with the taxes stuff and we go to the next blocker, because after you have established yourself, you have the VAT. I mean, you should already have started building your website. You should have all the translations done. But in case you haven't, Jana will tell you exactly why this is very important, because you might have covered the taxes, but if your translation sucks, you don't make any sales, so you don't pay any taxes. So at the end, you're just failing at the second step. So Jana, tell our attendees why this is so. It's even more important than the taxes. So.
Yeah, sure. It was a great presentation. Thank you, Nick. So what I wanted to say is that I think that people or like sellers are starting to come around when it comes to content in different languages. So far, the majority, what majority was doing is that they were just using Google Translate or automated translations, and then they would present their listings to an unknown audience in a foreign language and foreign country with Google Translate automated translation that did not make a lot of sense. And I was always wondering, like, why do sellers not care about their content in another language, and they do care about content in English, let's say US sellers or UK sellers, because content is equally important on other marketplaces as it is on your in your own marketplace, where you in your home country, in your home marketplace. And if you do like Google Translate, if you don't do any keywords or anything like it, then it would not make any sense for the audience, like the target audience that you want to connect with. You need to convey the right message of your brand. If you're doing an amazing job in the US or the UK, it doesn't mean that you will know what you are doing like on international marketplaces. We work with tons of sellers that are like 7 to 9 figure sellers, and they do amazingly well on the US and UK marketplace, but they really have no idea what they're doing when it comes to international marketplaces. And that doesn't seem to surprise me at all, like nowadays, because we've seen tons of very, very experienced sellers, but who do some like really, really basic mistakes when they expand internationally, and they lose a lot of time, a lot of money. They get ranked for completely wrong keywords, or they don't even have keywords. So they're just going to get ranked for like random words they don't want to get be ranked for. And the most important thing is that they just blew their honeymoon period. Now you can restart a honeymoon period, but you cannot restart those bad reviews that you get. So this is something that you should like really have a plan before you start expanding. You should really first like do like a product search, and then see if this product is going to be successful in Europe or other marketplaces outside of Europe. Because if the product is like a bestseller in the US, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bestseller like in Germany. For instance, like wooden toys are doing amazingly well in Germany and in Europe, but they're not doing so great in the US, for instance. So there are also like a lot of like really like a lot of missed opportunities when it comes to different products, because you don't know that they're gonna do well or they're not gonna do well, just because nobody even checked like brand analytics before they started. So I would say that content is king, and whoever was in e-commerce having like SEO problems with their website, and content is very, very important, because this is what's going to connect your brand to your consumers. And if you want to maximize on your brand, it's exactly what you should do. Of course, content is like one of the pieces of the puzzle that you kind of put together. You get this like a Amazon listing, sales, product, whatever. But like the main thing, which you really have to have in your content, in your listing, are keywords. So beautifully translated content is not everything that you need. It's not going to be good enough if you don't have keywords, which are strategically placed, like in title bullets, backends. Like their product is not gonna show up when somebody types, like a long tail keyword. So it would not be able to sell your product to somebody who really wants it, because you wouldn't have the keywords in your content. So that's really important. And what really makes the difference between regular translations and Amazon listing translations is that you should not hire someone who translates like word by word, but you should basically hire someone who's gonna take your English listing and base the new text that's being translated upon it. So you're gonna have tons of really good information about the ingredients or dimensions or key features, but you are going to localize it. It means that you're gonna rewrite it a little bit so it makes better sense to the target audience. And I always give an example of the US or differences between the US marketplace and the German marketplace, because US style is very salesly and fluffy, but Germans, they hate it. They're all straight to business, tell me what does this do. I will be the judge of if this product is good or bad, and don't push me into buying the product. They're very, very strict and very serious when it comes to your product features and how good they are. So this is something that if you just hired someone to do a translation word by word, Germans would not like it, because they will not understand your style or maybe your sense of humor, idioms, everything. It's very, very special. So localization is even more important when doing the content, because what you should be doing is if you hire a translator, a translator has to understand that he's actually creating a new sales copy of this product, not just translating text, when you have it's hiring a translator that doesn't know marketing and doesn't know how to do the sales language. Is going to the dentist to get your boob job done. It's basically that, and that's completely two different areas of expertise. And sellers and everybody out there in e-commerce don't seem to have the correct mindset all the time. So that's something that's really, really important, and that's what we see that happens all the time, that people make some really basic mistakes with that, and just not caring about what their content is and not conveying the right message of their brand to their audience. That's basically it in a nutshell.
Okay, good. So you guys, just to give some examples now, Amazon, the big bad wolf, they start in Sweden in January, and guess what? They use Google Translate. So
yeah, it was all over their local news. I also speak Swedish, and I also this Swedish conference, and we were just talking about that. And I just also told them Google Amazon is literally doing something that sellers should not ever do, and it backfired very badly on Amazon, because they had so many ridiculous translations. It made the news headline, and it was just absolutely ridiculous. And also even I don't know if you know this, Nick, but on the Swedish homepage of Amazon, they put an Argentinian flag. So they put a wrong flag. It was not it was a cross, but it was not a Swedish one. So it was complete mess. So they did not really do a good job. Or even their Launchpad program, it offers automated translations that's being proofread by humans, which also is not a really good solution, because I'm a translator myself. I have bachelor's and master's in that, and languages and e-commerce are both my passion. So I know how much time translators would lose when they're hired to do proofreading, which is also less paid, but they just need to do proofreading of a really, really crappy text. And they're going to use a twice as long time to fix that text other than just kind of having it translated from scratch. They would save a lot of time for that. So it's going to be it's going to be very difficult, and just translators hate doing that. Also, they're very underpaid for that job. So somebody who's underpaid for something that takes too long is definitely not going to pay attention to all of the mistakes and stylistic errors and everything as they should. So that type of translation is also not very good for your listings. It might be good to help your PPC team to figure out what keywords they should use, but not like when it comes to content. And when it comes to keywords, you should not definitely translate keywords as they are, because it doesn't necessarily mean that these keywords like are let's say the keywords are like they mean one thing in English, and this is the combination of a long tail keyword that exists on this marketplace, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean that the same keyword exists like on the Mexican marketplace. So you will be actually thinking that you are like embedding keywords when you're basically not doing anything. And when it comes to like language structure, German language has like this big chunky compound words. Like you can literally express a sentence in one word, and you don't have these in English. So even if when you go to Helium 10, which I know like that's what majority of sellers use, and it's also our favorite tool, when you have like the word count, it's set as number 2. That's like a default setting because most of the languages work like that. But if you use Helium for German keyword research, you'll have to change that word count as number 1, because if you don't change it to number 1, you would not get all those compound words in your results, which are usually always in top 20 keywords that you'll be missing out. So, things like that, because the tools and everything else is not adapted to different languages, but fortunately there is a way how you can, adjust everything and just get the maximized results out of it.
Okay, guys. So like Jana said, do your translations correctly, otherwise you look like fools with money. And there is not a worse thing like fools with money. So, and of course, let's say, you listen to her advice. I'll share all the speakers' contacts after the event, so you can get in touch with Jana and she'll tell you, what she do in more details and how they do it. So right now, let's say you've done the VAT, you got the proper translation, so you're ready to start ranking, launching, and start selling. So this is where Jenna comes in. They've been doing that for hundreds of brands, and she knows better than two of us, actually better than all of us, what it takes to grow a brand. So let's say we've done our job. So come on, Jenna, take it over and tell us what you guys do.
Yeah, well, I'll go share my screen with you guys. I have a presentation, just a quick one, nothing crazy. But yeah, so what I would say is when people come to us, the big question is, should we go to the EU? Right? A lot of people question if they're ready for it. They get intimidated by the tax issues, right, that you covered when we first started. So it's definitely intimidating, but it's definitely worth doing. So the EU's main marketplaces, like most of you guys know, they really focus in on 6 different ones. So Germany, UK, France, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. Those are the 6 main ones. But of course, they are expanding it, which is awesome and gives you guys different opportunities as you expand into the EU. Now, according to Amazon, we've had multiple meetings with them about EU expansion, but according to them, in 2020, sales on Amazon EU reached 370 billion, which is an 8.8% growth year over year. So they are on the rise, heading in the right direction. Obviously, Amazon US is the biggest marketplace, but the EU is definitely competing. So it's important to make sure that you are on your way over there. Now, another really exciting feature is that Amazon EU Marketplaces gets over 176 million unique visitors per month across their platform. That's getting you so much brand recognition, and it's definitely worth investing time and energy into. So how do you get started? You guys have already kind of covered the nitty gritty with the taxes. So I'm just going to kind of graze through this and kind of get to the fun stuff. Okay. So obviously, expanding into the EU can definitely be a bit challenging because there are different restrictions associated with it. So you have to check your category, your product content restrictions for the marketplace you are interested in to see if you're able to join that marketplace. There's different restrictions, obviously, if you're a supplement and if you are selling knives and things like that, there's different things to consider because obviously you're importing products if you're coming from the US, right? You want to check out the Amazon EU fee calculator specifically, see if that fits in your margins. Because obviously, if your products are mainly located in the US or maybe in Canada or wherever, if you're coming from somewhere else into the EU, it's something to consider, right? You're going to be spending a little bit more to send your product to the EU. So you need to make sure that it makes sense for your products. The margins are there. And then lastly, You guys already covered it, but you know, the VAT, that's a big aspect of it. Taxes can be intimidating to a lot of people, majority of people, right? So hellotax can go ahead and help you guys out with that. But that is something that you should look into, you should be aware of, because it is a big aspect of getting into Amazon EU. Now, as far as getting into Amazon EU, this is kind of the nitty gritty of it. But I do feel it's important to not just jump into the EU and say, I'm going to do all of these different marketplaces, I'm going to be successful everywhere. Because just like what was mentioned earlier in this presentation, not all products transfer well to every single marketplace. And it's important that you do your research and make sure that your product is actually a fit. So for some of you, you might already have this as an option within your brand dashboard. It is called the Global Expansions Opportunity Tool. And essentially what that can be used for is you can see how popular is your niche and category within different marketplaces globally. And I would recommend checking that out. It should be in beta, but check it out. If you can't find it under brand dashboard, go ahead and search it in the search bar. See if you guys have that available to you. But that can essentially let you know how popular is your category within Amazon EU. Now, personally, I don't like to put all my eggs in the Amazon basket, so I want to do my own research, which would be using a tool called Helium 10. If you are on Amazon, I am sure you're well aware of who they are. They are an awesome tool, something you should just have, even if you're not looking to expand or anything. They're just awesome in terms of any product research, keyword research, any of that good stuff. So when it comes to expanding internationally, we always say do your research in the market. So what we like to look for is there interest for your product, right? Because I'm assuming a lot of you guys have probably had Amazon reach out saying, hey, your product would be great for Amazon EU or whatever. Obviously, that's their job, right? Is to convince you guys to come there. But it's your job to do your due diligence, making sure you're actually a fit for that marketplace, right? Making sure that the competition, does that fit what you want, right? Sometimes expanding globally is really helpful because there is a little less competition sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky and you're going to be one of the first into the market. So going in, knowing that information and having a game plan is definitely super important. So what I would say is use the Helium 10 tool and look for a couple things. So look at your competitors, see what numbers they are currently doing. Check out their reviews. Can you compete with the reviews? Are you able to get reviews in that country? Checking that out can be really helpful as well. Obviously, price point is important too, because again, we just talked about margins. Obviously, sending products over to the EU, there's a lot to consider, right? You're going to be spending a little bit more money. You also have to factor in PPC, Amazon fees, things like that. Can you compete with the price points for those that are maybe already located in the EU and, you know, don't have to import the products and all that? So those are kind of the factors that you guys should be looking into. Just making sure you can compete, making sure it's a good fit for you. Don't let Amazon just tell you, yep, you're a good fit for all of them. No, do your research, make sure you're a fit for that specific market. You know, one really great example is we have a brand, they are in the CrossFit space. Germany, apparently, huge with CrossFit. They love CrossFit, but not the case for all EU countries, right? So what I would say is do your research, make sure that you are getting into the right countries and then also investing your time in the right countries, right? Like we were talking with the translations, it's a lot of work to expand internationally. So you want to make sure you are spending your time wisely and making sure you are putting it in the best places. So that's kind of the best way to get started with Amazon EU at a high level. Obviously, there is some complexities to it, but it's not something you can't manage. Now, as far as taking it to the next level, getting it to where you want it to be. So one thing we do recommend trying out is seeing if you are eligible for Launchpad EU. Now, like we just talked about with the translations, it's not a perfect offering or system, but that's anything with Amazon. For any of you guys that are a part of Amazon, you know that. So what I would say that is awesome about Launchpad EU is they do help with some issues that can come up as you expand into the EU marketplace. They can get you featured on things like gift guides for the holidays. They can get you featured on Amazon Prime Day. They've gotten our clients multiple deal of the days. So working with Amazon Launchpad is definitely beneficial. but I do agree, stay away from the translations because they're totally using Google, unfortunately. So what I would say is check it out. They have usually a lower percentage than they do here in the US as for their offering. They do take a percentage of sales. That is how they make their money. But it's definitely worth it. And then there's also a higher acceptance rate in the Amazon EU than in Amazon US. So that's something to consider for those of you that might have been turned down by Amazon Launchpad in the US. Okay, so just something to consider. Now, obviously, one really great way to take Amazon EU to the next level is enrolling in Amazon PPC and DSP. This is a no-brainer, and this is something that our team over at Turnkey Product Management can help you guys out with. When people expand to the EU, it is common to not give it your best. That's why Google translations are super common. And they shouldn't be, right? It's important that if you're going to invest in this expansion, that you do it properly. And that does include doing everything you do in the US or in Canada or wherever you were starting from and expanding to the EU with. It's important that you're doing all the right things that you were doing on those marketplaces, right? So that definitely starts with Amazon PPC and also demand side platform DSP. So that means doing the translations, get the right keywords in place, do the research, make sure it makes sense. One example that I always kind of bring up when it comes to keywords and different things like that, even here in the US, we say things differently than we would on the East Coast versus the West Coast. Perfect example, my boyfriend's from Pennsylvania. He says book bag, I say backpack. So even that, you can see it matters, right? Doing the right keyword research matters. So getting translations in place, reaching out to the right people to make sure that you have the right keywords and you're bidding on the ones that are important, and obviously making sure they're in your listing. So making sure you have PPC and DSP is definitely a way to take the EU the next level, obviously. And then, like I mentioned, just strategies, right? Making sure that you're not being lazy when you get over there. Right? We don't want that for you guys. Amazon EU has expanded a ton in their offerings, and they're able to give you the same opportunities that the US has or Canada has, right? So take advantage of coupon clippings, take advantage of lightning deals, promotional codes, anything that Amazon has to offer, you should be taking advantage of over on Amazon EU as well. So it's the same principle. So yes, a little bit more complex moving over, but you need to be doing the exact same things you're doing where you're coming from in order to be successful on Amazon EU. Now, for those of you guys that are listening, we are giving you guys a special offer. It's a free consultation call. You can go ahead and book that going to turnkeyproductmanagement.com/talk, where we can go ahead and kind of evaluate where you guys are at, if you want to expand, and kind of just talk about those opportunities. But yeah, that's all I had for this presentation.
Okay, today we're perfect. So Jesse, make sure that you don't spoil. We're quick. We tell all the nasty stuff they don't want to hear, but that's the truth. And like you guys see, even for English speakers, sometimes you need to have like the state-specific language because they will know that you're not local. So if they see the local side, they'll buy there. No matter. So okay, and obviously, let's say we've done the journey. You've grown the brand, you're making a few millions, and you have 1 million per year, and then Jesse knocks on your door. Hey guys, I like your brand. Can I buy it? Okay, so I guess Jesse will tell you more about that. No, they're one of the aggregators, and they're the Tesla guys, as the other people know them. But of course, there is more than that. So we'll let Jesse introduce himself, and he'll tell you more about what they do and how they do, how they run the company and what they're looking for. So thanks, Jesse.
Absolutely. And what a group to have to follow up on. And Nick, I think you're underselling yourself quite a bit, saying VAT and taxes aren't sexy, because I'm listening to this and it feels like you're bringing sexy back to taxes here. So people talk to the hellotax guys. For us, we are one of the aggregators, but we're highly focused on our operational excellency. So really being brand operators first. And especially now in this time where we're seeing a lot of brands who have benefited from the tailwinds of COVID and are looking at now as a really great time to exit, get a beneficial look as far as multiples go on their business. How do we then take that success and continue to grow with our brands? How do we continue to see 200, 300% growth Obviously, expanding marketplaces are incredibly important to us. So a lot of the brands that we've acquired have seen a lot of success in the US, but now we're moving them international. And as all of the speakers here have alluded to, it's a great chance to grow, but it's not easy. And so for a lot of the mom and pop shops, or even the incredibly successful groups that have done it with a small number of employees, how do you continue that growth? How do you provide the same sort of time and I guess care to your brands in new marketplaces where it is a whole nother challenge? So we've grown our team here to be able to address all those different niche problems or niche hurdles too. And a lot of it is using what Jana has said or Jenna has shared and identifying, which products best translate in different cultures, in different marketplaces, making sure that we have A+ content, A+ listings, making sure we have the right resources to continue to grow those brands in those marketplaces. And so we're expanding out across the board. Now, that's something that we can tell other third-party sellers to do to grow their businesses, but it's much easier to say than and have done. So with our scale, we've been addressing that for most of the brands that we have acquired that make sense in those different marketplaces as well. Even when we take into some of the pains that almost everyone's facing, such as supply chain issues, there's huge opportunities if you've grown out your network as extensively as most of us aggregators have, and some of those third-party sellers to say, if there's port congestions in LA and my profits are decreasing in marketplaces across the EU where it makes the most sense, if we have suppliers or manufacturers closer by, we can get the right products into those marketplaces, be more profitable, and continue sales at times where it's much more problematic, like for example, here in the US, trying to get things into maybe Port of LA, for example. So in the bigger picture here, where most of the growth is coming from our perspective, when we think about 2022, 2023, it's making sure that you're international. And I think I can probably speak for most of the aggregators, that's very similarly as important too. So working with experts like Jana or experts like Jana, that can help you grow. Even us here are taking those learnings to make sure that our team here is equipped to be able to grow brands and give confidence to the brands that we purchase. But if you're speaking to an aggregator who doesn't have plans to be international and marketplaces where maybe your brands aren't right now, then it's probably time to speak to somebody who is. If that makes sense for you, Nick.
Yeah, you're done, Jesse?
Am I done? That's what I would say about the international marketplaces.
Okay. So I guess we're really quick today. And of course, now it's time for questions. So let me just check out the questions and we'll go from there. Just give me a second. So
I have a question for Jesse, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still looking for the questions here. Okay.
Right. So Jesse, have you seen the new Thrasio rebranding they announced today?
For today, Jana, you're catching me off guard here. I am not sure.
Okay, I just wanted to see what you think about that, because they kind of rebranded. Now we've also been working with Thrasio for like 2 years now, and they came up with this new rebranding about how they're care about the brands, how they're all about the journey. It's not about the money. It's all about taking care and growing this and being one of the guys and stuff like that. And with Carlos, and it's very interesting how they decided to convert to that. And I think that's definitely that decision was definitely impacted by tons of sellers being kind of angry-ish about what happens with their brand after they have given it to aggregators. Nobody knows what happens with these brands, and then they're it's not, they don't show they would care about the brands, or that it would not grow them. So this is a really good approach to showing people give us your brand and look at us. We're this crazy cool Thrasio. We're not a cold corporation. So I just thought it was a good move from their side. What do you think?
And I apologize too. I missed the initial part where you said Thrasio. So yes, I would say even outside of just Thrasio, there is a movement for aggregators to try to be a little bit more human here. It's something that I feel confident that is a conversation that we've started here at Acquco. So very similar to the founders at HelloTax. Our group is largely made up of successful Amazon sellers. And we've identified a gap in the aggregator Amazon brand space for an opportunity to be more human, to understand, outside of just the right dollar amount for a brand owner, what else is more important to them. Creating Amazon brand is a very, very personal job, and maybe not similar to other types of acquisitions where you're working with M&A team who's working with another M&A team. Right now, you're working with an actual brand owner, and understanding the pains that they've gone through in creating that brand, understanding the challenges they face, understanding that they're experts in what they do, and that they care that whoever they transition that brand to has that same sort of expertise. We've really focused on that. So we like to say we're operators more so than aggregators, because we're not looking just to buy up successful brands and continue that. We're looking to buy successful brands and continue the same sort of brand sentiment, the same sort of goals that they, as those brand owners, have developed. And it's important that somebody sees their brand go to somebody who continues to grow, not somebody that looks at it as another number or just looks at it as new dollar figures in their bank. And across the process, from initial interaction to transparency during a transaction stage, to making sure that we've understood what every single seller's goals are post-acquisition. I think that's something that all of us can get better at and should be focused on, but that's part of one of our main, pillars in our business here from day one, making sure we understand that that is a very human transaction.
Yeah. Honestly, no, I used to run a supplement brand. After I sold my brand, I don't give a, what happened there. So it just depends to the owner. And I think, you guys should be working more with them pre-acquisition, not post-acquisition, because honestly, once you've sold your brand, you shouldn't care, you got the money, it's not your brand anymore. But I think you should concentrate what to do with the brand's pre-acquisitions. And actually, this is one of the questions, by the way, for you guys. That's for Acquco. Are you guys planning to organize something like an FBA Academy, so you help brands which are not good for acquisition? I think I'm not sure if you get it, Jesse, but I've been asked that a lot. Let's say you get a brand, they're not good fit for acquisition. What do you do with them? Do you turn them down? You tell them you suck, or you send them to Jana or Jenna or me, and we help them optimize? So what do you do with these brands?
You're reading my mind, Nick. So again, too, that's very important to try to combat what's been perceived as a very cold sort of transaction or conversation with Amazon aggregators, especially in my focus as head of partnerships. It's how do we share value to everybody we speak with, our partner network, our sellers we interact with. And so in the cases like you said, maybe it's not a good fit for us now. Maybe it's not a good fit for us in general. Somebody has shared their time with us, and we feel like we should give back as much as we can on that. So connecting with individuals like Jana, Jenna, yourself too, potentially there's an avenue to help grow that brand further. Maybe it helps them towards a better future exit. Maybe it just helps them in increasing their overall sales and profit at the end of the day, bringing home a bigger paycheck. So we do our very best to say, if it's not a fit for us, here are options for you to help continue to grow your brand. And in certain scenarios, you mentioned an academy, that's actually one of our goals here too, and something we've put together where we can say, even if we've purchased a brand from you and you're planning on moving into maybe an exploit in a different area, here is our partner network that can help you from stage one to another future successful exit in quickly getting that brand up to speed to not facing maybe some of those larger hurdles that sellers do at the beginning stages, and hoping that all of us at the end of the day, benefit in some sort of way. And if we see our sellers benefit, even the ones that we don't purchase, then word of mouth spreads and good business breeds good business. So I think everybody should be looking at it that way. If the end goal is to make sure the sellers who put in all the work all the blood, sweat, and tears, get some sort of benefit at the end, then our businesses keep on growing, and there's chances for new brands to acquire. There's chances for new clients for each one of us too. So that should be the focus, making sure sellers have some sort of benefit from connecting with each one of us. We're trying very hard to make sure we accomplish that.
Okay, that's good. So we should have booked spot as mentors in your academy so we can make some money. I mean, help brand. Sorry. Okay, guys. So here's another question. This one is for Jana. Which market or markets should you recommend to start with in Europe, from transportation perspective, I guess?
Well, it also, as everyone has previously mentioned, it really depends on the marketplace. So maybe, your product will do amazingly well in Italy, for instance, but it would not sell so well in Germany. So it really all depends on the research that you do. What I suggest, like you could do, for instance, like you can go to Helium 10, you can go to Black Box, maybe see like how well your product is doing, like on the different marketplaces, see how big of a revenue these competitors are having, check your competitors. I mean, it's not that easy. Like of course I can say you should go to Germany. It's the biggest marketplace in Europe, but maybe that's not a good choice for your product. But I would say that mostly I would say like 95% of sellers that we work with, they will definitely 100% go to Germany and the UK. Now UK has been like a little bit difficult after Brexit, so you have to have different inventory in the UK and different inventory for Europe. But I would say that Germany, as being the biggest marketplace, gives you the most opportunities and also the biggest competition, but it is the biggest marketplace. So you should probably start from there, but make sure to just previously do the market research a little bit and see how well your product is doing there, and to see like how many competitors you have or you don't have, also PPC clicks and all of that.
Okay, thanks, Jana. One question here is for Jenna. Okay, when I'm scaling to Europe, should I go to Germany as everybody recommend, or I should go and do some of the smaller markets which are underdeveloped?
Germany is worth the most money and time, in my opinion. I definitely agree. For a few reasons. I mean, they have the most shoppers, but then they also have the most tools. I think Germany makes the most sense. If you're not comfortable with Germany, and you're coming from the US, another common place to go is the UK. I know a lot of our supplement brands, they move from the US to the UK first, because the UK, it's easier to get supplements in than if you were to go somewhere else. And then also, if you let's say you're not ready for translations or whatever, you can't make that investment, obviously English speaking country, so that helps as well. I would say usually when we have brands not leave the US, but expand into the EU, usually it's to the UK or to Germany.
Okay, that's good. One question for me. Why do you recommend Germany? Okay, actually, let me see. Let me just read the question properly. Okay, from Eugene, can I use the old VAT regime instead of the one-stop shop? Okay, yes, of course you can do that, but this would mean that you need to register VAT in all the markets after you hit the 10,000 threshold, meaning the so-called one-stop shop was implemented on purpose to make it easier for sellers to expand. And what Jana and Jenna are telling you, Germany. Yes, Germany. And the thing is, with the VAT, you set up Germany as the base, and you can set up like the English, the German translation, and you can have everybody in the European Union ordering from there, and you can fulfill the orders. And let's say your sales are doing great in the other markets, then you can set up like the translations, you can set up the VAT locally. So the idea is to start with Germany because it's the easiest to start with. Not that is the only option. Of course, the other markets are great as well, but keep in mind, you need to do some work. Once you establish yourself, it's a long-term revenue, but it's not easy. This is why, it's not easy, but it's not as competitive in the long term. And actually, this is one of the next questions I think probably Jana and Jenna can answer. What is the most, uncompetitive market in Amazon Europe? Do you know? Obviously, Germany is the most competitive. Which one is the uncut gem from your perspective?
See, I think it depends on the market. I don't think there's a correct answer for that. I think it would really depend on what market you're in. And then that's why you should do research with like the Helium 10 tools and things like that, because it's going to be a different answer for everyone based on what our team has seen. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that. And that's why you have to do your research ahead of time to see, is it worth it? Because competition can be different from marketplace to marketplace.
Okay. So guys, always be testing. You cannot just make assumptions. This is great. This even for Germany. Obviously you need the base in Europe, so you need to establish somewhere. But of course, you should be testing all the time. And let me see. We have another question. This for the hot topic of 2021. That's from Angel. Do you believe supply chain issues will continue into 2022? I guess questions for everybody.
Yeah, and I can take that one as well too. I mean, it's a classic bullwhip effect, essentially, created by the pandemic, where slow moving natures of supply chain will be affected. Probably we're looking at through 2022 into 2023 probably as well. Even coming into this new year with Chinese New Year, we have pent up supply needs. Orders will probably grow from manufacturers. I imagine we'll probably see global vaccination continue to combat these variants, but ultimately, the consumer spending will probably stay high. I would imagine with just guidance we've got from the shippers, the port operators, that we should expect supply chain issues to carry on, unfortunately, probably into at least 2023.
Okay, thanks, Jesse. And I think we have a last question. I love the question. It's actually from somebody who is not in. Okay, guys, I would like you to do like a crazy forecast for the e-commerce industry in 2022. What would happen? So I guess I'll start myself because I'm not the only one without J in the name. So my crazy forecast is next year, one of the aggregators will start offering Bitcoin as a payout to brand owners and referrals. So let's see if I'm correct here. I am a crypto junkie. I've been in crypto for a long time. So crypto e-commerce adoption should be the thing to do in 2022. Okay, so I guess we start with the ladies. I guess Jana, what's your prediction for next year?
Yeah, I mean, like the word's out that Amazon is going to create their own cryptocurrency, and then they're going to also use it on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that's probably going to happen because we're all kind of going towards the metaverse and like NFTs and games and stuff like that. So I don't know, like, why not? I think that could be really interesting. And I'm sure that might happen at one point. Not sure if it's going to be next year, but I'm sure that more and more companies and web places will take Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as actually, I just ordered wine to surprise some friends a couple of days ago, and I could pay on that website. I could pay in crypto.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I know somebody who is doing that, by the way. I introduced him to many of my partners because I'm pitching crypto adoption left and right this year. So let's see what happens next year. So Jenna, what's your prediction for next year?
Yeah, so I don't have anything to weigh in on crypto. But one thing I would say is I do believe that specifically on Amazon, you're going to see Amazon start to focus a lot more on brands. They're going to be pushing brands to actually, stay true to who they are as a brand rather than a seller. You need to be a brand. So, I mean, one example of this is Amazon has unveiled storefront followers here in the US. It's a really big deal. They're almost creating their own social media market on Amazon marketplaces. So what I would say is, I can see Amazon really shifting towards that. And I think that as those tools become available, as Amazon gives you that brand recognition, definitely take advantage of it, because that carries over into Shopify, that carries into so much value that goes beyond Amazon. So I really think just making sure you're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, that's actually a great prediction. There's like a trading platform who's doing social trading. So they might start doing social, I guess, mentoring for Amazon, actually. It's a crazy idea, and a lot of companies would go out of business if they start doing that, which would not be great. So I think, Jess, you're the last. What's your prediction for next year?
Amazon integrating crypto into their marketplace, I'll probably agree with Jana that I don't see that happening in 2022, maybe not even 2023. Other marketplaces taking that interest and using it to maybe grow their brand presence or their marketplace presence. I've already seen smaller ones looking to do that. From the aggregator standpoint, I think there might be interest from a lot of us to leverage what is current appeal with crypto to do things to help promote new acquisitions. For example, maybe there's crypto offered in payments for a brand. Maybe there's referral fees that are paid out in crypto. I think we'll see crypto being used in different ways tied to the Amazon marketplace. But in Amazon itself, that's probably a huge hill to climb.
Okay, guys. So I think we're perfect, by the way. As many attendees joined, as many stayed till then. This has never happened this year. So I guess we're not boring, which is a huge success. Everybody hates boring speakers, so you guys were great. And this is our last webinar for the year. So thank you guys for being the last but not the least. We have still our Q4 offer for hellotax, 33% off. Freeze my favorite digit, so you have less than a week to take advantage of that. I'm sure that Jana, Jenna, and Jesse have some offers, as well. So get in touch with them. I'll send you the email with the recording, and stay safe and sound and have more fun during the holidays, and don't over party. We need to be alive next year to continue what we're doing. So thank you for joining the webinar, and enjoy the holidays, everybody. And if you like what we're doing, subscribe, like the other influencers are telling, so you can follow us, etc. So thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Take
Dan.
care.